As I sit down to share these intimate tales from the depths of the internet, I'm about to embark on a journey into the often messy, sometimes cringe-worthy, but always relatable world of human relationships. Grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into the real-life stories that will make you laugh, cry, and maybe even nod your head in solidarity. Fiancé, 35 male. Dad touched me, 28 female, inappropriately and didn't do anything. So, my fiancé has told me our whole relationship that he has a bad relationship with his dad. He told me his dad was a creep and controlling, etc. And that he wasn't in a rush for me to meet him or be around him. I respected that, but I told him I wanted to meet his dad before we got married. My fiancé still occasionally spends time with his dad and hasn't completely cut off the relationship. That's partly why I wanted to meet him before we got married. There was a big family gathering a few weeks ago, and we talked about me finally meeting his dad. At the party, I greeted his dad, and everything seemed normal. At one point, my fiancé and I were sitting on a couch together, and he got up to grab something. His dad immediately came and sat next to me. He was almost on top of me, legs completely against mine, and started talking to me and leaning his body against mine. I was uncomfortable and kept scooting away, but he kept scooting closer. I was trying not to be rude, since it's his dad, and he was talking to me, and at one point, he started laughing and put his hand on my upper thigh and gave it a little squeeze. My fiancé came over quickly after that, and we got up together. Later that night on our way home, I told him what happened. I was so upset, in tears, and told him I felt so violated. Now my fiancé was upset, but didn't seem really all too angry. His solution is that he's not bringing me around his dad anymore. However, him and his dad still see each other and have a relationship. I feel like he didn't protect me and should have said something to his dad about not putting his hands on me. My fiancé, however, thinks that that would cause too much drama fighting, and it isn't worth it to say anything at this point, since I'm not seeing his dad anymore. If the roles were reversed, I would have definitely spoken up for my fiancé's sake, but we have been intermittently fighting about this, and I just feel like he didn't defend me or protect me. Edit. Some of y'all seem to think I'm in the wrong here, and I forced my fiancé to meet his dad. I want to clarify a few things. They still have a relationship, meaning they go to lunch often, phone calls, texts, etc. He told me some general things about his dad being a creep, and he didn't tell me I couldn't meet his dad. He said he wanted to wait until we were more solid in our relationship, and once we got engaged, we started talking about it more. My fiancé still wants a relationship with his dad, which is why I wanted to meet him. Had I known how bad it was, I wouldn't have ever met him. Second thing I want to clarify is I have a history of say, and what happened in that moment with his dad is I had the PTSD response of freeze. I wish I would have said something, but I couldn't. I left the situation instead. What's most upsetting to me is I had nightmares about his dad doing that for weeks after, and my fiancé knows how much this messed me up. And I had to practically beg for him to stand up for me, and he wouldn't. Thank y'all for all the input. I'm going to be doing some thinking about this. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Your fiancé is low contact because there is something wrong with him. He is protecting you by not putting you in a position to have to deal with him. You can't pick your blood relatives, but you can protect your chosen family. He is doing that. I don't think this is a good enough reason for her to expose herself to a sexual predator by extension. Not does it soothe the fact he seems to have done nothing. How many women has this happened to? Has 35 years old. I don't see how this would convince OP to stay with this man. I'm not saying that to be pedantic. Eventually, they will be under the same roof, or he's basically never going to family functions. I don't see how this is an attractive idea after his inaction. She could just not deal with this problem with someone else, and her fiancé would probably learn he needs to stand up for the people in his life, in the moment, and actually impose consequences. This is just him playing goalie. Ugh. I know. And what's your solution once they have kids? Is OPS Phil allowed to see them? Does it have to be without her? What if he creeps on them? This situation would definitely be a deal breaker for me. That would be a no contact situation as well. Except has not actually low contact. Sounds like the dad and he have regular talk shingouts. And while he'd still be related to his dad, He 100% can choose whether he has his dad in his life or not, after his dad behaved like that to his fiancée. And now for the next story. How do I, 24 female, communicate better with my boyfriend? 25 male. We're both a little stressed right now. Life is getting more expensive, and we're trying to keep up with it. But I'm just a hopeless romantic. I always have been. I'm a Cancer, an NFP, an avid reader, kind of all of the emotional dreamer stereotypes, and I've always had at least decent expectations when it comes to communication and romantic expression. My boyfriend is just not that person. Which fine. I know it's not fair to expect that. But I cook him food every day, clean up after him, take interest in his interests, smile and hug him when he comes home, tell him a reason I'm grateful for him every day, etc. And it feels like I'm only getting criticism from him. He said being nice feels forced, but a big example is my cooking. I cook every day, and I usually have to cook him a separate meal or put in extra steps because he's vegetarian. He's never once complimented my cooking, despite others generally telling me I'm a good cook. I'll make him say spaghetti. I'll put bell peppers in the spaghetti, and he'll say it's a crazy combination he's never heard of, and that it ruins the texture, and nothing else. I recently cut my bangs, and he told me they made me look old and pointed out grays that I apparently have started growing. I'll put on an outfit, and he'll say EDK, you need gloves or something like that. He says he loves me every few minutes, and as nice as that is, I can't appreciate it if he can't show me that in other ways. I keep trying to talk about it, and now has said I'm too direct when talking, and need to be more tactful if I want communication from him, because when I say I wish you'd say something nice, instead apparently that's shutting him down. So how do I say can you say something nice in a way that's tactful? I'm just getting confused. I thought men liked when women are direct. And how can I encourage change and growth without saying exactly what I expect to change? I don't want to change him as a person, he just wants some affirmation. And now for the next story. BF 26M and I, 26F, have been dating for over a year, but the sex keeps getting worse. How can I make things better? My boyfriend and I have been dating for about a year and a half, and when it first started, we had sex at least twice a week that lasts longer than 10-15 minutes. It was fun, and no pressure, it felt easy. After about half a year into dating, the frequency got lower and lower, to the point where we can go on a month without sex, and it drives me crazy. I don't consider myself as someone with a high sex drive, but ideally I would like to have sex at least once a week because I enjoy the intimacy. I have tried to communicate with him that the way things are sexually isn't working for me. It's making me feel like he doesn't desire me anymore, or it's something wrong with me. He chalks it up to him being tired. He does a lot of activity shobbies, so at the end of the day, he's too tired to have sex. He also says I'm applying a lot of pressure for him to perform, so I tried to lay off him, but that just led to us not having sex for over a month. He rarely initiates anymore, and it makes me feel so defeated that I have to beg for sex every time. When I successfully convince him to have sex, he comes in minutes, making me deeply dissatisfied, and he would just apologize and tell me that he's sorry, but nothing changes. This has been going on for over a year now since I first brought up the issue. Other than this problem, I don't really have any other big issues. I'm unsure if this is a big enough issue to really break up with someone over, but I'm not sure if I can get used to this kind of lacking sexual appetite. When I bring up how important this is for me, he would say sometimes he's just not in the mood, or he's too tired, or just another day. We're not even married yet, so this worries me. I used to offer him BJs or try to set the mood too in the hopes that he'll want to do it, but I'm just tired of it now. I've actually grown resentful that he doesn't seem to want to have sex with me, although he claims otherwise. So when he does want to, I feel like I should deny him, so he can feel how I feel. I'm aware of how unhealthy this is, but I'm just so hurt and insecure about it now. Too long. Didn't read. Otherwise perfect BF treats. Sex like a chore, and I'm growing resentful. I'm unsure if this can be fixed, or if I should just leave. Can this problem be fixed? Noting that he is not gay. And now for the next story. My girlfriend, 24 female, is making me, 26 male, miserable with constant demands of marriage. How do we move forward? I have been with my girlfriend for 2.5 years. She's amazing in so many ways and really loves me. I love her too, but she has been driving me insane with her obsession with marriage. For the past year, it's been a constant cycle of her aggressively demanding that I marry her. We can't just live our lives without her looping it back into the topic of conversation. I'm talking frequently is yelling, asking why she isn't good enough, etc. I've told her not ready to be married and need to feel like I can breathe in the relationship. But she won't let it rest. We'll go a few days without talking about it, but in that time, I know something is building up. There is always a dramatic outburst on the horizon. I feel like I could get to the point of wanting to marry her if she'd stop doing this. And I do get close. But then it all happens again, and I question if I want to do this for the rest of my life. I understand her need for commitment, and I'm trying to get there. But her behavior around the topic is making this hard to do. If I do marry her, how do I know she won't act this way about something else? I'm not sure if I'm being unreasonable. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. She is trying to tell you that she will leave if you don't marry her soon. Do whatever you want with that. Yeah, you're one enlightened moment away from her deciding she can't do this anymore. He doesn't want to marry her. He just doesn't want to be single either. He's acting like marriage is something you grow into. If you aren't sure, you are wasting their time. Is she bothering too much about it is one of the most common excuses out there. Just say you want a forever girlfriend and be done. Tell all your partners you aren't made for marriage and save both of you time and heartache. It is something to grow into in a relationship. 24 and 26 are still pretty young. Could have professional, financial, or personal goals he'd like to achieve before committing to marriage, and that's okay. You can be in a solid, committed, healthy, and loving relationship while not being ready for marriage. You're ostensibly working towards it. It's also okay to not want marriage at all. Yes, these are all okay. But he needs to communicate then. They may not align with her goals, and she can make an informed decision. It's already a mess though. If they're fighting about it this much, they need to poo or get off the pot. She's already in a tizzy. I feel for both of them. Exactly. For sure all of that is okay. But as time moves on, it becomes more and more difficult for young PPL to become financially stable. It's unreasonable, Imo, to expect a woman to wait until she's in her 30s, just for you to still maybe decide she isn't the one you want to marry, etc. I think PPL need to understand that, biologically, if a woman wants children, she literally cannot waste time trying to determine if a man will marry her or not. A pregnant woman at 35 years is an advanced maternal age. Pregnancy. If a couple want to be married for a period of time before having children, they do not need to wait until they are in their 30s to marry. Especially if they want multiple children and want a few years to enjoy each new baby. Different people find their person at different ages. Personally, I have been amazed at the people who are together for 8-15 years before marrying. The bottom line, they need to be honest. She needs to tell him she wants to move on to someone with the goal of marriage. OP needs to be honest he does not have any foreseeable plans to be married. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.